Today I'm going to show you how to fix your uneven shoulders. What's going on, guys? Blake here, GuerrillaZen Fitness. Uneven shoulders, walking around with one shoulder up higher than the other. It's pretty common. You might notice that you do this if you see yourself in the mirror, in the bathroom, or at the gym or something like that. Like I said, it's fairly common, but fixing this issue permanently requires an understanding as to the imbalances that are causing it, and that's what today's video is all about. Before we get into the meat of this video, this is not custom advice for you, all right? This is a complex issue. If you need my one-on-one help correcting your muscle imbalances, postural misalignments, mobility, flexibility issues, this is what I do as an online coach. Open up the description down below, click coaching, and apply for my coaching program. Having said that, one of the most common and simple things going on that are contributing to these uneven shoulders are overdeveloped upper trapezius and levator scapula muscles on the side with the high shoulder, all right? Basically, if these muscles are overactive and tight, they're gonna shrug the shoulder up like this. This is what they do. So if you have too much tension on one side of the body and you don't have the same amount of tension on the other side, you're gonna be walking around looking like this. These muscles are turning on, shrugging your shoulder up, and you're kind of wearing your shoulder like an earring. So to release these fibers of the upper trapezius, we want to start with some self-myofascial release first. And the easiest way to do that is with a tool like this called a theracane. You're basically gonna dig this end of the theracane, holding it like this, into the upper trapezius. You're gonna press down like this. I want you to shrug up into the knob of the theracane, activating the upper trap. Hold that for about 10 seconds and then relax while keeping constant pressure in that upper trap the whole time, okay? Do 5 sets or so of that 10-second contractions, 15-second relaxations while keeping constant pressure in there the whole time. You can also kind of just dig around with this and play with, in different spots that feel tight. You can do more reps, of course. I don't want to talk about this too much because a lot of people don't have this tool. So what you can do instead is use just a simple ball, lacrosse ball, tennis ball. Most people do have access to these. And, we can use this to release the upper trap too. You can put this in your shoulder like this and then lean into a door frame and push it in there. Or you can do it on the ground here, which I'll show you right now. You basically place the ball on the upper trapezius. Okay, kind of get it to stay there. You lift your hips up. This ball's a little too big. It's kind of sliding around on me, but what you're gonna do, put it on the upper trapezius, lift up the hips so that you've got a lot of pressure right on the upper traps, and then you're going to raise the arm up and down like this. Okay, this is a really effective release for the upper traps. I would recommend a ball that's a little bit smaller in diameter than this one. Probably a lacrosse ball or a tennis ball would be most effective. You can do that for really as much as you want until that tension subjectively is kind of out of that muscle. Typically, I like to follow up any kind of self-myofascial release with a static stretch. And one of the easiest ways to kind of stretch the upper traps is to pull that arm down, reach behind your back, grab the wrist like that. All right, pull that shoulder down and then tilt your head away from it. All right, trying to depress the scapula as much as possible and flex the neck in the opposite direction, okay? You can kind of experiment with different angles here, kind of twist the head like this. Really, whatever produces the most stretch in the side of your neck, kind of coming up the top of the shoulder there. You want to spend at least 30 seconds in there holding this statically to further facilitate the release and elongation of the upper trapezius. The last thing that we want to do here is actually train the scapular depressors, okay, the muscles that pull that shoulder down, all right? And one of the easiest ways to do this unilaterally on one side, not so much so the other side, is to get something like a yoga mat or a yoga block. Put your hand on it, okay, on the side that you are, trying to strengthen. Straighten out your legs, okay? And what you're gonna do here is you're gonna just press down like this, okay? Press really hard and really focus on depressing more so the side with the elevated hand that's on the yoga block or the yoga mat, okay? And for that, what we're trying to do is recondition the shoulder, trying to pull it down, obviously, You do want to do this on an elevated surface like this. That helps to get more contraction on the side that's shrugged up. So you can do this anywhere between 4 sets of 10 to 15 reps. Another thing that may be going on with you is one shoulder might not be shrugged up, one shoulder might actually be level, whereas the other one is actually depressed down, pulled down the back like this. So the shoulders are still not level with each other. However, now it's not so much so a matter of one shoulder being shrugged up, it's one shoulder being pulled down the back like this. All right, so here's how to stretch and release the lat on the side with the lower shoulder, if the shoulder's pulled down, all right? Whenever we are stretching a muscle, we always want to foam roll it beforehand. That helps to break up some, knots in the muscles, some myofascial adhesions if you want to be more fancy. It also kind of helps to downregulate the neural drive going into the muscle and kind of pre-loosen it, all right? So to foam roll the lats, what I really like to do is put the roller down, stretch my arm out like this, get right on the lats, kind of angle your chest upwards slightly, okay? One of the first things I like to do is kind of just keep pressure on the lats and move the arm like this, okay? Overhead and downwards. I'll do about 12 or so of these, and then I'll try to roll back and forth on the muscle about 12 times. First of all, I'll start up here, maybe 3 or 4 rolls on some of the, higher fibers of the lat, and then I'll kind of re-angle my chest point upwards a little bit and get more of these posterior fibers on the back, okay? One thing you got to be very careful of when you're foam rolling the lats is to not roll onto the lower ribs down here, okay? If you go down this low, okay, you can really damage these ribs, so don't do that. Stay up higher, always err on the side of caution. About 12 rolls, maybe 6 in this region, and then 6 kind of up higher in the armpit after you've done this motion with your shoulders, okay? For about, how many ever reps of that shoulder movement you want to do while you have pressure in the lats, that's going to help. After we do that, then we want to do a, static stretch for the lats. And one of the easiest ways to do this with just your body weight is to get into like a child's pose position, like this, okay? What you're going to do though, get your body as flat as you can, and then you're going to take the side with the lower shoulder, the side with the lat that you want to stretch. I'm going to use this shoulder, pretending like this lat is tight. And what you're going to do is you're going to kind of walk it across the body this way. And then I want you to kind of lean your hips to the left, like this. We're trying to actually open up this whole area here, okay? So keep the hand planted here, shift your body to the left. You should feel a nice deep stretch coming into the lats. If you want to get even more release, well, first of all, you can hold this just, statically here for 30 seconds. If you want to get more release, you can throw in a contract and relax component into this to help further assist releasing it, okay? And the way that this is done, you're doing it in the same position, but now what you're doing is you're actually activating the lat and contracting it by trying to pull the arm like this, okay? You're not going to let that happen. You're going to keep your hand planted there, but you're going to activate those lat muscles, keeping that hand planted, continuing to lean this way, open it up, really contract those lat muscles hard, and then relax and sink a little bit deeper, all right? You want to do about 10 seconds of squeezing followed by 15 seconds or so of being relaxed. And then in this new range here, pull again, and then relax again, sink a little bit deeper into the stretch, okay? Doing a contract and relax version of any stretch like that is superior to other methods of stretching, and you'll get way more release doing that. So do about 4 sets of that, okay? 10-second contractions, 15-second relaxations. You can also just hold that isometrically, or not isometrically, statically, I should say, if you don't want to do that. But the point is, we're trying to bring that, that arm up and across the body here to place the lats under a stretch. You'll know if you're stretching them because you should be able to feel them, the fibers kind of becoming elongated and being stretched out. What you might want to do to kind of wrap up the stretching here is do some exercises to actually pull that shoulder that's depressed upwards. All right, and one of the simplest ways to do that is with a overhead shrug, okay? This is gonna actually activate the upper trapezius to help pull the shoulder up. Most people don't do shrugs this way. So I'm gonna show you how to do it on the ground here. with a dumbbell. I do recommend doing this standing. I'm just not doing it standing because I frankly don't want to move around the camera because I'm already down here. So standing up with the core braced, you know, core tight, butt tight, you're gonna take one dumbbell, kind of press it overhead. Go light with this at first, but what you're gonna do with your elbows straight is you're gonna let your kind of shoulder come down, and then you're gonna shrug it up towards the ear, and then back down, just like this. Okay, this is an overhead shrug. This will work the upper trapezius, and for that, if you're gonna experiment with that, I would recommend doing probably no more than just 2 sets of 10 with a light weight on the side with the lower shoulder. Now, it may be difficult for you to discern between whether or not one shoulder is shrugged up or one shoulder is depressed down, right? It's not very easy to determine this. However, there are a couple signs that you can look for to help better guide your own selection of exercises. If you suspect that one shoulder is shrugged up, there are 4 things that I would have you pay attention to. One is just, do you feel a lot of subjective tension and tightness in the side of the neck, on top of the shoulder here, and coming into the back of the neck, all right? You are likely to feel a lot of tension in that area, especially more so on one side, if, you know, the upper trap is truly an issue for you. Another thing to keep in mind is all of these muscles insert on, you know, the shoulder and the cervical spine, the neck and the head themselves. And if they're tight, that's going to pull your head into lateral flexion like this. So you might notice if you take photos of yourself standing still with a relaxed posture that your head is kind of tilted towards the side with the higher shoulder. All right, these are signs to look for. Some other things you might want to look for is, do you see, like with your own eyeballs, overdevelopment of the upper trapezius? Is it hypertrophied, which means volumized? Is it thicker? Does it just look like there's more muscle tissue in that upper trap than there is on the other side? Okay, you can tell a lot about where somebody has imbalance by looking at the development of their muscles, because bigger muscles are stronger muscles, smaller muscles are weaker muscles. So if your upper trap truly is an issue, it's overactive, it's overworking itself all the time, you're likely going to see that it's bigger and thicker on that side than it is on the other side. One of the last things to look for is, I want you to find something called the spine of the scapula, which is this ridge on your shoulder blade right here. If you stick your hand back here, you can feel it, all right? This is where mine is right here. Now, for all intensive purposes, you more or less want that to be level, okay? If it's elevated, kind of shrugged up here like this, and it's close to the ear, that is another way for you to kind of discern and figure out whether or not you need to be releasing these muscles that I showed you in that first set of exercises. Now, conversely, if you suspect that one shoulder is depressed down, all right, where the other shoulder is level, but you suspect one side is actually just pulled down like this, and you're walking around like this, with the other side being more normal, here's a couple signs that you can look for with regards to discerning whether or not that's the case. The first thing is we want to find that spine of the scapula again, okay? If your shoulder is depressed down, the spine of the scapula is going to be sloping downwards like a downhill angle, like this, okay? This point of your shoulder is going to be much lower than this point, like much lower, okay? It's going to be drooping down, okay? And the angle with which that spine of the scapula is angled upon is going to be like this, all right? That is a classic sign that the shoulder is depressed or downwardly rotated on that side, okay? So that's something to look for. You might also notice that your arm on that side is internally rotated, meaning it's turned in, okay? When your arms come to rest at your sides like this, you can't really see my hand, but if the side that you suspect is internally rotated, if the thumb on that side is twisted in, your whole arm bone is twisted in towards the midline, that is a sign potentially that your lats are overdeveloped and tight on that side as well. Because the lats not only depress the shoulder, but they internally rotate the arm too. Another thing to look for, because the lats attach up at the shoulder here on the lumbar spine and the back of the pelvis, if they're super overactive and developed as well, what's going to happen is your whole body, okay, your whole upper trunk, I should say, kind of between your hips and your head, it's going to be flexed towards that side laterally, okay? You might be leaning your whole body this way. If you take a photo of yourself without a shirt on from the front, all right, and then you draw a line up from the belly button, you want that line going through your nostrils, okay? Your nostrils should be lined up vertically over your belly button. If your lat is really overdeveloped, it's depressing that shoulder down and internally rotating it. It's probably also going to be laterally flexing your body this way. So if you do take those photos of yourself, you're going to see that your midline, your belly button, is not underneath your nose. Your nose is actually off to the side, towards the side with the high shoulder. I want you to understand that you can have all of these things going on at once. You can have one shoulder being, hiked up, the other shoulder being depressed down simultaneously. So don't think that it can just be one or the other. All in all, what I showed today is going to help you. It might just be a quick fix, okay? It'll definitely produce a difference, but you might not notice lasting change because this whole thing could have its roots at biomechanical issues beginning all the way down in the foot and the ankle. Long story short, if you have a flat foot on one side, okay, that can cause ankle pronation, which in turn sends the knee in towards the midline on that side, drops the hip on that side down low, sending the other hip upside, which produces this lateral flexion of the spine, this sideways kind of curve, causes your body to lean in one direction. And then all of this kind of subsequently results in the shoulders not being level with each other. Obviously, this adds a lot of complexity to the situation, all right? And there's no way I could fit discussing everything that we could do for that in this video. It would be like a 45-minute video. So if you want me to, I can make a part 2 to this video where I cover how to address that imbalance, okay? Like I said, today's techniques will really help kind of with these surface level imbalances, but if it's beginning in your foot and ankle, these are just going to be kind of quick fixes and not a permanent fix to this issue, long term. So if you want me to make a video on that, part 2 to this video, where we start by addressing this issue at the ankle, then leave me a comment down below and also give me a like on this video so that I know that this is popular and it's worthwhile of my time to make more content on. If you feel like all of this is over your head and you need my one-on-one help, like I said, what I do as an online coach is I help my clients identify their imbalances, their postural misalignments, their mobility and flexibility issues, and then I basically give them customized, fully tailored corrective exercise programs that they go through under my remote guidance and support. So if you want me as your coach, open up the description down below, click the first link there that says coaching, and that will take you over to my website where you can apply for my coaching program. If you're looking for another spot to apply for my coaching, you can do so by clicking this button right over here. If you want to see another video similar to today's video, check this out over here. And if you haven't yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, make sure you go ahead and do that as well. I upload here weekly. You can do that right over there. And as always, that's it for today. I'll see you next time.